Does England have a problem? Despite their superb Euro 2024 squad, they struggled in their first match win against Serbia and have even matched an unspectacular record. England fans are worried the team have not conquered their familiar problem and could end up not going far in the tournament. Slovenia, on the other hand, are hoping they could get through by getting a result against England. Will this be possible? Also, what problem does England's Euro squad have? Welcome back to the football pit. England's problem at the Euro: Jude Bellingham is annoyed. The dynamic England and Real Madrid midfielder believes England is on the right path to finally end their 58-year run of missing out on the Euro title. That match was the Jude Bellingham show, as the midfielder who was used as the number 10 had the opportunity to imprint himself all over the pitch. Bellingham was relentless, and I'll give you more details about his epic performance later in the video. England quickly imprinted themselves against Serbia, and by the 13th minute, Bellingham was alert in the box to divert a deflected Bukayo Saka cross into the box. Scoring so early should have translated to complete dominance for England, and it did at first. Now that Serbia's whole tactic of playing a deep line had disappeared with that early England goal, they came out to attack and almost got a response when Aleksandar Mitrovic fired narrowly wide. They continued to push for an equaliser, but Dusan Vlahovic saw his effort blocked. England also tried to double their advantage, but their best effort was a tame Kyle Walker cross shot, which went all the way across the goal. The expectation was that the three Lions would go for the kill, but after the 32nd minute, their spark died out. England were no longer on the front foot and dropped, in what is in my opinion, too deep. It neutralised the lively Saka, who was now too far from the opposition box to do some real damage. Then, when the second half began, England just fizzled out. Phil Foden joined Saka in being ineffective, but the versatile player was lashing out at his teammates because he was having a disastrous game due to his lack of action. He blamed Kane, who was invisible for the majority of the first half, for not tracking a runner, and lashed out at Trent Alexander-Arnold for not pressing quicker. Speaking of Trent, he gave the ball away in a dangerous area, and it was clear that the Trent Alexander-Arnold midfield experiment was clearly not working. Still, somehow England's coach Gareth Southgate didn't see this. Declan Rice had the need to engage in too many duels to cover for the defensive weaknesses of his midfield partner. Doing that made Rice himself move out of position, and thus exposing England's midfield further. If their opponent wasn't Serbia, England could have paid for their sloppy mistakes. Things got progressively worse for the three Lions as they began to rely on long balls. Trent got a delicious one, but his other attempt gave Serbia more of the ball. Jordan Pickford, who played 53% of his passes short in the first 30 minutes, played 76% of the balls long as the game progressed. Now, it was glaring that England needed to change something. They needed to have control in the game, and rather than bring in a defensive midfielder that could do just that for them, they brought on Conor Gallagher. Gallagher is undoubtedly a brilliant player, but his strength is progressively carrying the ball and recovering it, among other things. Possession and retention are not among his strong suits, but for some reason he was the man Southgate called upon. England legend Gary Lineker expressed his surprise at Southgate's decision to bring in Gallagher, while other pundits praised him. They believed that the player's energy was what England needed at the time. True, Gallagher has lungs and stamina that can be compared to that of N'Golo Kante's. However, with England still struggling to retain possession in that match, their lack of possession would have cost them if their goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford, wasn't lively to Vlahovic's shot in the 82nd minute. By the end of the game, England managed 5 shots, 3 of which came in the first half. Serbia managed 6, and the total of 11 shots both teams had would be the lowest in a European Championship match since 1980. Yikes. In the end, England managed to win against Serbia. In their next game against Denmark, England played the same way. They had an amazing start to the game and even scored in the 18th minute, with Harry Kane finally opening his Euro 2024 register. However, as the game continued, England completely lost their steam. They switched to being defensive, and that's not all. Southgate's experiment clearly is not working, but he's still stuck to it. Will they do the same thing against Slovenia with their particularly dangerous striker, Benjamin Sesko? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Threatening Slovenia. Sesko was both the hero and villain in the match against Denmark. He almost scored a beauty after his outside-the-box shot stunned Denmark's keeper Kasper Schmeichel. He must have regretted not scoring as Denmark scored through their talisman, Christian Eriksen, who 3 years ago missed the larger part of the 2021 tournament due to a heart attack. That Eriksen goal was a perfect welcome back for Eriksen to the Euros, and Sesko almost doubled Denmark's lead as he cleared into his own area. Slovenia's goalkeeper, Jan Oblak, could only watch in horror as the ball skipped wide. Slovenia survived another scare, as Eriksen was just unstoppable. He justified his coach's faith in him with another lovely shot, which Slovenian defender Jarka Bijol almost headed into his own net. Denmark continued to pile on the pressure, and Rasmus Højlund almost added another goal for Denmark, but couldn't get past Oblak at close range. Slovenia weren't ready to give up the contest. They came close to scoring, but didn't have that extra bit of magic to guide the ball into the net. Later, Slovenia managed to score after Denmark could not properly clear a corner through an Erik Jansa goal. Slovenia weren't sloven in their approach. They lashed on the ball and fired a half volley, which stunned Schmeichel. The scores became 1-1, and neither side could find the extra spark that would allow them to emerge from the game as winners. Will Slovenia be able to revive their efforts against England? Who will win? England are lucky with their squad, but there are worries that their coach isn't using them in a way that maximizes their potential. Bellingham looks to be thriving in the system because of the freedom he is enjoying. He is able to pull strings on the pitch at both ends of the pitch. Bellingham isn't lazy, and apart from his footballing abilities, he is a leader on the pitch and off it too. He was the brightest spark in England's first match and added so much flair to their game. After the game ended, Bellingham was on media duties and defended how England played. Bellingham commented that he didn't agree with how people saw the match and gave a very unique perspective. He said that England showed in the first half that they can score in any game, and that the second half shows that they can defend and keep a clean sheet against any opponent as well. Erik ten Hag didn't agree with Bellingham and criticised how England approached the game. He said, "England were playing very passive. I actually saw them moving backwards. They kept Serbia coming at them. It's the vision of the manager. England will take a 1-0 lead, then he decides to start gambling by making his team compact and relying on moments for the remaining minutes of the game." Not many people liked what Ten Hag said about how England played, even if it was true. Micah Richards retorted that Ten Hag has had a bad season with Manchester United too, so he shouldn't be pointing fingers. I feel Richards missed the point, and Ten Hag was right. The Three Lions have a wealth of talent that is superior on paper to that of other teams. They have the perfect blend of youth and experience. With all due respect to the teams in their group, England should be doing way better than they did. Although, I suppose in the end, it's the scoreline that matters. At least, that's what England players think. Bellingham supported the way they played, and Kane said that the result matters. Speaking of Kane, he and Phil Foden have much to do, especially as they have had incredible individual seasons. Apart from improving his performance, Foden has to also improve his mentality in the game. He has to play for the team and help them improve how they play and approach a game. His teammates only care about winning, but he should also care about how they achieve that win. Slovenia doesn't have the luxury of superstars that England has, but what they do have are men who can get the job done. Jan Oblak will be ready to stop England's attackers from having any joy in the game. However, this could be difficult, considering since 2009, Slovenia haven't had any luck against England. The only time that they have been able to have a positive performance against England was a draw in the World Cup qualifiers in 2016. If Slovenia wants to make a statement against England, the Cologne Stadium will be the perfect stadium to do so. Venue. The Cologne Stadium boasts a capacity of 50,000 seats and is important in football history. It is the home ground to the local Bundesliga team, 1FC Cologne, and has hosted matches in the 2005 FIFA Confederations Cup and the 2006 FIFA World Cup. In the 2006 World Cup, it hosted 5 games. Those games were 4 group matches and the round of 16 match between Switzerland and Ukraine. Now this stadium will host another exciting game in the Euros, and the big question is, are you ready? England have to lose their cautiousness and play to fully utilise their talents against Slovenia. To achieve this, England's coach Gareth Southgate has to change how he approaches a game. He needs to add dynamism to how they play. However, will Slovenia let England have their way? Let us know what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more exciting football content like this.